Nolan Arenado says no to the Houston Astros. And did the Cody Bellinger trade give us any insight into what the Cardinals might be getting in return in a Nolan Arenado deal? This is Locked On Cardinals.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily St. Louis Cardinals podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey there, Cardinals fans. I'm JD Hafford, and I'm your host for Locked On Cardinals, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, covering your team every day. You can follow me on Twitter X at JD Sports Radio. You can also follow the podcast at LO_Cardinals. Want to thank those of you who make Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts. You can also find us on YouTube. If you haven't stopped by, please come on by. Like, subscribe, comment, hit the notification button so you know when the new episodes are posted. This is a show serving Cardinal Nation and giving the best fans in baseball all of the info about the birds on the bat. Today's episode being brought to you by the College Football Playoffs. The College Football Playoff is here, and you don't want to miss a moment of the action. The College Football Playoff, presented by Allstate, begins with 4 first-round games, December 20th and 21st on ESPN, ABC, TNT, and Max. So, the trade winds continue to blow, and none of them have involved the St. Louis Cardinals yet. We did find out today that Nolan Arenado has decided that he will not waive his no-trade clause for a deal to the Houston Astros. This was news that just broke just a little bit ago. John Denton, Mark Feinsand, and there was another writer with MLB.com, but, all kind of putting it together as a group. According to sources, the Cardinals were willing to send $15 to $20 million to the Astros as part of the deal to help pay down Arenado's salary. The money the Cardinals were willing to include would have brought the Astros commitment down to roughly $40 to $45 million over 3 years. A source said that there were still ongoing talks between the clubs, though another source indicates that the Astros aren't holding out much hope that a deal will get done. And I've said on numerous occasions, we've talked about it a lot recently, about different places that Arenado could end up, which places seem like good fits. And it was strange to me that Nolan Arenado did not have the Houston Astros on the reported trade list of teams that he would be interested in going to. And this is just more of him putting his foot down and showing how difficult this might be by turning down a possible deal to the Astros. Doesn't want to go there. A source says it's definitely not close. President of Baseball Operations John Mozeliak adds, all I can say is that we were in talks with multiple teams, and we still are, but I have nothing pending. We're still working on a lot of things, and hopefully we have clarity as we get into the new year. If you remember, he was pretty honest about a timetable here about not getting anything done at the winter meetings involving Nolan Arenado. But there was some hope that, maybe they get something done before Christmas, but that seems doubtful, being that today is the 18th, not a whole lot of time left. And, people are going to start moving on in life for the holidays and whatnot. So no Houston, apparently. Leave your thoughts in the comments section about your feelings towards this. But it's not shocking when you think about his list in the reporting that was done by John Denton. There were 6 teams that he said, yeah, I'm cool with going to. Houston is not on that list. The Yankees were not on that list. So I would assume that he doesn't want to go to the New York Yankees, although he had the Mets on that list. So, if that's indeed, there's no ground for movement, and those are the 6 you got to work with. That's kind of tough. When that's all you got. Now, when talking about a deal about Nolan Arenado, one of the newest deals that happened in Major League Baseball may or may not have given us some insight on the market for Nolan Arenado. The Cubs made that deal with the Astros for Kyle Tucker already, and we had heard that, it was Bellinger and Seiya Suzuki were going to be on the block for Chicago, but the information that was out there was that Bellinger was the likely person to get moved, and then you just saw it. He got shipped to the New York Yankees. The deal was Bellinger and $5 million going to New York for Cody Poteet. Who? Exactly. I mean, come on. Who doesn't know Cody Poteet? Come on. You got him on your fantasy team, right? You got his baseball card. 30-year-old right-handed pitcher with a whopping 24 games and 83 innings of Major League experience. Cody Poteet. He's your man. You got that jersey in your closet, don't you? No. Come on. Sounds like a really good deal, right? Cody Poteet, and you got to give up money for a former rookie of the year and NL MVP who, as recently as 2023, got MVP votes, won his second Silver Slugger in 2023. Obviously, it's a crappy deal. It sounds like a crappy deal because it is a crappy baseball deal. Where it works is the financial reasons for it all, for the Cubs. Bellinger had 2 years, $52.5 million left on his 3-year deal with Chicago. Opt-outs following each season. He had already exercised that very expensive $27.5 million option in November so he could stay with the Cubs, and has another player option for 2026 at $25 million and a $5 million buyout. So it made sense for him to exercise this. Now, how does this relate to what the Cardinals are going through and with Nolan Arenado? We know Arenado's on the trade block. He's got the no trade clause, which he has exercised, as we know, by not accepting a deal to the Houston Astros. But the other teams, the Dodgers, the Padres, the Angels, Mets, Red Sox, and Phillies, those are the names of the teams that he apparently would be interested in going to. Once again, courtesy of John Denton. Doesn't seem like there's a great fit in LA anymore. It doesn't seem like the Dodgers are going to be interested in him. But all the other teams, there's still some space there, Not willing to go to Houston now. So we got confirmation on that. Some of the reasons why this might be a little more difficult: Nolan is older than Belly, has 3 years remaining on his current deal, and has seen his offensive production decline the last 2 seasons. Now, Belly did have that comeback season in 2023, perhaps motivated by the Dodgers moving on from him, but he was very good that season. It sucked going up against him. Last year, though, things slipped back closer to mediocrity for Cody Bellinger, similar to where Arenado's production is right now. We know that the Cardinals are going to have to eat some sort of salary to move Nato if and when he's traded to one of those teams, just like the Cubs had to do with Cody Bellinger. And to see that the only thing that the Cubs got in return for him, no offense to Poteet, but is Cody friggin' Poteet. That's it. And this is a fear among fans, is this what the Cardinals are going to get for Arenado? Because that is not even in the comprehension of a normal Cardinals fan right now. Now, some people, like everydayers who have heard me talk about this and have tried to warn you that it may not be the level of return that we are looking for. We're going to get into it a little more because my guy Thomas Govain over at RedbirdRants.com was a little under the weather this week, so he couldn't join us. But he kind of broke things down a little bit further to make sure you knew exactly why it would be this way for Arenado and why you shouldn't get your hopes up that you're going to get some kind of amazing prospects in return. But it could disappoint some fans. So we're going to get into that next. Essentially, he thinks, to the disappointment of fans, that this could be a glimpse into the return for Arenado. So I'll share his thoughts with you coming up next on Locked On Cardinals. The World Series, Super Bowl, the Olympics, the world's top athletes get to play in these top-level sporting events thanks to one thing: teamwork. And teamwork can also protect your financial legacy and your family's future. SelectQuote's licensed insurance agents, they are the perfect teammates when shopping for customized, affordable life insurance. They can find the right policy to keep your financial legacy safely in your family's end zone. SelectQuote is one of America's leading insurance brokers with nearly 40 years of experience, and they've helped over 2 million customers find over $700 billion in coverage since 1985. You invest so much time in taking care of yourself and to be the healthiest, best version of you. SelectQuote's exclusive policies can reward that effort that you put forward. If you are in good health, they work with carriers that could get you same-day coverage for up to $5 million, no medical exam required. And these policies are more affordable than you actually think. You can get coverage for up to $1 million for as little as $20 per month. So head to SelectQuote.com, and a licensed insurance agent will call you right away with the right policy for your life and your budget. SelectQuote. They shop, you save. Get the right life insurance for you for less at SelectQuote.com/lockedon. Go to SelectQuote.com/lockedon today to get started. That's SelectQuote.com/lockedon. Locked On. Thanks again for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. You can leave your comments on YouTube as well as on Twitter X anytime you want. That feedback always welcome and encouraged. We're going to answer some of your questions a little bit later in today's episode. But we're talking about the possible return for the future Hall of Famer Nolan Arenado and why it may not be exactly what Cardinals fans are hoping for, because we see Nolan Arenado as a star. Right? You see him as a star. You look at all the platinum and gold gloves the man has over the years, the Silver Slugger awards. You look at his production and this body of work and this resume, and you're like, superstar, right? One of the best to ever do it. So how on earth are the Cardinals going to get lowballed here if and when they make a deal? Well, as Thomas points out in his article at redbirdrants.com, when comparing things to the deal with Cody Bellinger, you've got Arenado, who is 4 years older than Belly, and he's more costly over a longer period of time. His OPS plus 108 in 2023 and 101 in 2024, according to Baseball Reference, which is just a tad above league average. It's not that good. And his defense, granted, he was a Gold Glove finalist this past year. It has slipped with age, which is expected. Like, it's going to continue to go in the wrong direction, and that's just the nature of the sport. And nobody beats Father Time, undefeated. First half of last season, we were wondering if he was injured. Is his back bothering him again? Because he was playing so poorly, not only at the plate where we weren't getting the power or anything, but in the field. He was having a tough go in that first half. He did turn things around in a big way in the second half defensively. Looked a lot more like the guy that we're used to seeing down there at third base. But, Arenado is clearly aware of these shortcomings that he's had over the recent couple of seasons here, because, it's been stated that he's open. Hey, I'll move to first base if this will get me moved on and help facilitate a deal. I'll do that. The big thing in all of this, which Thomas brings up and which we've brought up before, is how much money are the Cardinals willing to eat on a Nolan Arenado deal? We just heard today that they were willing to go $15-20 million in a Houston Astros deal because it's going to alter the return they will receive if the deal is made. Although a lot of money to you and I, the Cubs sending a measly $5 million to the New York Yankees in a deal with Bellinger isn't a whole lot, which is likely why you're getting Cody Poteet in return instead of a better prospect, unless they love Cody Poteet for whatever reason. Thomas says that sending $10 million gets Arenado's contract to the same level, albeit in one extra year to Bellinger's remaining salary. If the Cardinals can up their cash exchange to $30 million, nearly half of the remaining value of Arenado's contract, they could get a legitimate prospect back. Again, we just saw $15-20 million, so they're willing to go above and beyond what the Cubs just did. But 15-20, now we've got kind of a spot there where other teams can be like, all right, 15-20, you're talking about that. Here's what we think that's worth. He also brings up another scenario where the Cardinals could find a team that's interested in pawning off one of its pricey players to help the Cardinals fill a need on their team. Now, in my opinion, this is a scenario that won't be all that appealing, because the idea of all of this, the idea of shedding a Paul Goldschmidt and shedding a Nolan Arenado, is not because you don't like these guys. It's not that you don't think they can produce. Maybe not at the level they used to, but it's not that. It's that you want to not only get rid of salary, but you also want to give younger guys the at-bat. You want to give them the innings. The goal is not to go get another pricey veteran on a crappy contract and have him step in and clog things up again. That doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me. Thomas mentions the Yankees and Marcus Stroman. Again, though, the Yankees not on the list. Maybe a Seattle Mariners pitcher could be had with the right package, he says. What about former number 1 overall pick Casey Mize with the Tigers, pitcher who's dealt with some injuries? Again, problem with all three of those, Yankees, Mariners, Tigers, not on the list that Nolan Arenado is apparently going with. And if he's not willing to go to Houston, who over the years has been a pretty solid team and has won a lot of ball games, won a World Series not that long ago, why would he want to go to the other ones? You know, if he's already like, no, these are my 6, I'm not going anywhere else, then I guess he's not going anywhere else. He points out that the Astros were, rumored to be willing to trade Framber Valdez, which would have been kind of an eye-opener. If you were going to, exchange, at least you would get a year out of Valdez before he becomes a free agent, but obviously that appears to be squashed now. He brings up, what about Nato to the Angels for Reed Detmers, because the Angels were on the list. Is there a package that could be put together with like a Nato and a Matz or a Fetty or something like that to go get some better prospects? Maybe. I mean, there's some different ways that you could go about this, but they're going to have to mix and match. If you want a decent return, you're either going to have to eat a whole lot more money, or you're going to have to add some sort of value to the trade on top of what Nolan Arenado already gives you. So it's a tough spot to be. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section down below. How do you think the Cardinals should be handling this situation? We're going to go jump into some fan feedback on this discussion about this particular topic and a whole lot more coming up next on Locked On Cardinals. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sports book, because right now new customers can bet $5 and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. Now, the FanDuel Sportsbook app, it gives you everything you need to place your live bets on the NFL, and it's all in one place. So say this Thursday night, you're going to watch Denver and the Chargers play. Denver's defense has just been amazing this year. The last couple of games, they got like 3 touchdowns. They've been outstanding. I've been riding them in fantasy. So I've enjoyed it. Chargers, little star power over there on the offensive side, outside of quarterback Justin Herbert. So things could be tough for them on Thursday night. So keep an eye on that one. We've got Saturday NFL football this weekend too. Houston and Kansas City, Steelers at Ravens, a lot of playoff implications. Fantasy football championships going on. I'm in 2 leagues where I'm in the championship, so I'm excited about that. So obviously I'm going to be right there, keeping an eye on everything. And when you get a hunch in the middle of a game, you can check out the latest stats and view live play-by-play and so much more right there on the same page where you place your bets. Visit FanDuel.com to join today. You'll get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch and make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. Thank you again for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen today. For your second listen, find Locked On MLB. Baseball guru Sully brings your daily blend of humor and baseball. Keeps you updated on all the teams during this offseason. And you can find Locked On MLB on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcast. So a lot of responses to the last video. This is kind of for new people. This is kind of my version of like chat or mailbag or whatever people call it these days. I just call it fan feedback. That's my thing. Doesn't even have to be a question per se. You could just be making a statement or an observation. Just want to get something off your chest. Come lay down on the Locked On Cardinals couch. Feel free to vent. You're in a safe place, my friends. All right, let's go to, because most people want to talk about Arenado. So KD Shorty Bulls says, the worst thing the Cardinals could do is trade Arenado for absolutely nothing like we did Tyler O'Neill. The Cardinals should either keep him or trade him and get a couple of top 10 prospects in return. If you can't get a couple prospects in return, there's no point in doing the deal. KD, thank you. I think the problem here, which I know that sucked. That sucked. First, I'm a huge fan. This towel right here, if you're watching on YouTube, is Tyler O'Neill's locker room towel from one of his first years with the team. Bought that at the Cardinals pro shop that they have out there where it's like the, legit stuff. Anywho, I was a big fan of Tyler O'Neill. I still am. I think he's got a lot to offer. Couldn't stay healthy in St. Louis. Had a falling out with Ali Marmol. Was going to be a free agent. Cardinals just wanted to dump him and move on. That was clearly the thinking there. Let's just separate. Let's just move on with our lives. Terrible return for the Cardinals. Awful. I know this. You know this. Everybody knows this. Now he's going to be playing for the Baltimore Orioles after a big year with the Red Sox. I think the problem here is that this might be too far gone to actually come back from. And again, nobody is upset with each other, which was different with Tyler O'Neill, where clearly there was some problems, right? But I think both sides have just accepted that this is going to happen one way or another. In one way, you can look at it as this allows, that people know that Nado's available. It allows teams to bid for his services. Best deal wins. Great, right? Or you can look at it as kind of putting the Cardinals in a corner with teams knowing that they want to unload him. They don't have to, mind you, but they want to. Nado wants to go to a winner. He doesn't really want to go through this reset that they're doing. And these other teams can play hardball to make a deal. And it sucks that, he's not coming off a year that was productive like he was in 2022 when he was a top 3 MVP guy. Right now, if you just look at the stats and I took his name away, you just be like, oh, just an average guy, plays pretty good defense. That's it. He just happens to have the name Nolan Arenado attached to it. So these guys aren't getting the Nolan Arenado that the Cardinals traded for a few years back. He's not coming off of amazing seasons. He's coming off 2 down seasons, and they're getting worse. They're not getting better. So could he flourish somewhere else? Yeah, I think he could. I think he would be a good fit in Boston. I thought Houston was going to be a good fit. Clearly not the case, but I feel like Boston with the Green Monster, I feel like he'd do quite well in Boston, but we'll have to see. We'll have to see what they can get done. So, but I don't know if there's a coming back from this. Like if they don't get a deal and none of these teams put forth a good enough package or put forth enough effort to get Nolan Arenado out of here, I don't know if he's going to want to come back. If you're like, well, you guys just try to trade me all off season, why would I come back? So I think they're in a tough spot now with that. I think it kind of has to get done now. Again, they don't have to trade him, but it feels like they're going to, right? Dennis Kelly says, good video. I agree with you in that Gorman should be given a real shot to make it or not next season. This clearly in reference to who we think should play third base if Arenado was dealt. He says, don't understand that so many fans have already written him off. Thank you, Dennis. Production is what people look at, right? You look at the production, and when you see him continuously strike out over and over and over and over, despite knowing that he's always been a guy that strikes out a lot, it does get pretty rough to watch. I mean, you can't say that you haven't been frustrated with watching Nolan Gorman at bats over the last year and a half. It's been tough, watching him chase bad pitches, but then take good ones, and just the lack of contact in general. It's alarming. It's frustrating. And I'm right there with you. I'm not ready to pull the plug on him because I saw this first half of the season this past year. I thought he was pretty good, and I was willing to accept the strikeouts. I can see why people have had enough, but I want to point out that he's 24, going to be 25 here next year. But in his limited time at the major league level, he has shown you 30 to 40 home run power, like easy 30 to 40 home run power, even with the strikeouts. Obviously your wish is that he'll end up like Kyle Schwarber, right? I've said, Max Muncy-esque, but Kyle Schwarber is kind of the guy that maybe he's going to be more like him. That potential is there for him to have numbers like Kyle Schwarber. Kyle Schwarber strikes out a buttload. But you know what else he does? He walks a lot, gets on base a lot. And obviously he has the power. Let's look. Schwarber, 2023, hit 197, 215 strikeouts. But he walked 126 times, 47 home runs, 104 RBIs. Last year, hit 248, struck out 197 times. But walked 106, 38 bombs, 104 RBIs. The strikeouts are maddening for me. And it's maddening for the older generation of baseball fans. Like, it used to be frowned upon. It used to be embarrassing that you had to, if you struck out, you had to, tuck your tail between your legs and drag your bat back to the dugout like, oh my gosh, I'm a failure. And now it's not as big a deal. People are like, well, I'll get them next time. And it's so. I don't want to say that it shouldn't be trying to think of the best way to say this, but that I don't know. That if you're going to strike out that much, then when you do swing the bat and put the ball in play, you got to do damage. Okay. You still have to do something else to make the strikeouts worthwhile. All right. And you need to be able to take walks. And when you swing, you got to do damage. That is what Kyle Schwarber does. He's going to strike out a ton, but he's dangerous at the plate. And you might get him to whiff a few times, but that one time he might take you deep. Or he's going to work a walk and get on base and be a pain in the butt. That's what we need Nolan Gorman to be more like. I need more walks. I'll take the strikeouts if you give me the rest of it, Let's exchange here. So that's the ultimate goal. I still think third base is where he belongs. There are other people who do not. Maybe we should do a whole episode about that of why or why not Gorman or Donovan or Sajaci or whoever should be over at third base. But that's just my opinion. And I've seen people go, say it should be Donovan because he is the better fielding third baseman, that he should be over there and quit moving Gorman around. But I don't know. It just seems like he fits over there. That's just my opinion. He's never going to hit 300. I know that much. And if you can't accept that, then you're never going to like Nolan Gorman as a player. But if he gives you the production of a Kyle Schwarber, are you willing to look past it? I think most people would. All right. Well, thank you guys for everything. Thank you for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. Keep those comments and stuff going. We're going to continue with the fan feedback each and every episode, getting your thoughts and your ideas of how the Cardinals should improve, what they're doing right, what they're doing wrong. So don't be shy, okay? If you haven't already, give us a follow on Twitter X at LO_Cardinals and at JD Sports Radio. Like, subscribe on YouTube to help our channel and our love for the Cardinals grow. You guys are the best fans in baseball for a reason. I'll see you next time on Locked On Cardinals.